You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Hello there and welcome to the BQN Hive Mind presents Hit It, live on BQN's YouTube and the Treksperts Quiz Twitch channel. It's me, Davey. I'm joined today by my fellow Aussie Star Trek fan. It's Stephen Russell. Stephen, how are you?
Hi.
I love how I came off the intro right as you looked like you were pouring your almond milk into your coffee there, by the way. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. If you are in the live chat, I can see that there are a few of you in there. For those of you who are not in the know, this is the Hive Mind is a Patreon exclusive perk for all of our paid Patreon members, where we generally get together to discuss all things Trek. But whilst there's Trek on TV, we do these wonderful live streams where we invite our Patreon members to be a part of the show with us and recap the most recent episodes of Star Trek. And today, Stephen and I are going to be stepping through the two most recent episodes of Strange New Worlds through the lens of time and the Sehlat, I'll say Sehlat from now on, that ate its own tail. Stephen, how did you find these two episodes?
Well, I loved the last one. It was very unexpected, especially the ending. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, interesting. I think Through the Lens of Time was probably my favorite of the two. I mean, I think I liked both of these a lot more than I've liked a lot of what's come before in this season already. But yeah, I don't know. How have you been finding this season so far? I don't think we've really caught up on that.
I've heard of a mixed review from people, but look, I love it. I just love everything all Trek. I just like it how it's willing to explore different stories that we probably haven't seen before, which I find pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's different stories we haven't seen before. I mean, some of them feel very familiar. Space of Time Adventure Hour, or whatever it was called, that felt all oddly familiar. But yeah, I agree. There's definitely, especially I think in the last two. I mean, a lot of people are saying, "Oh yeah, it reminds me of this, it reminds me of that," but I think that these have been pretty unique. If you're in the live chat today, make sure you throw your opinions into the chat as well, and Stephen and I will pick up on those threads. So, Stephen, how today's going to work is I've done two watches of each episode, right? So I've done my first watch, which is my sit down with a glass of wine and enjoy it watch, and then I do my second watch where I have OneNote open and I take meticulous notes on everything that's happening throughout the entire plot. So we're going to step through each of those and just chat about what we thought about each of these different plot points along the way, what we liked, what we didn't like, what we'd like to see, and all that other good stuff. So we're going to start with Through the Lens of Time. Now, I loved this episode, but what I didn't love was knowing that from the very beginning, that as soon as we saw Ensign or Nurse Gamble skipping merrily through the halls, doing a log about just how good his time on the Enterprise is and how exciting he is to go on his first away mission, did you know that he was doomed from that moment as well, Stephen?
No, I didn't myself. Yes, No, I didn't know he was doomed at that time. No, I was. It was a unique episode that I probably wasn't expecting myself. Are we talking about the alien that we saw in the episode? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I mean, the fact that he ends up without eyeballs and then gets taken over by an alien. Like, it's a bit.
I didn't expect this one. I expected the alien to be the red shirt because
Okay.
the unknown alien is always gonna die.
Yeah. I saw some people getting upset online because it's a bit tropey to have like a B character like all of a sudden front and center at the start of an episode talking about how good things are going. That generally spells like death and destruction for that character. I knew as soon as I was like, oh no, Paul Gamble. I mean, I only just learned his name off by heart at the start of this episode when he introduced himself in the log. I'm like, I could just tell that.
He was such a cutie. It's like, oh, God.
I know. We've got John Mendoza is in the chat and sending you lots of love from LA, by the way. Good to see you there,
hello,
Johnny.
Missed you very much.
Yeah, miss you, Johnny. Make sure you keep chatting along. So anyway, found out Nurse Cutie is possibly going to die, but I'm glad that not everyone picked up on that. It's good to hear that it was still a bit of a surprise for some people, but I was like, nah, something awful's going to happen to him. We move on through. We've got... This was a really long cold open, by the way. Do you remember the days where the cold open of Star Trek was like, boom, set up the premise of the episode and then titles, but this like went on. I wrote in my notes, I'm like, exposition soup. Like, it was basically about 10 minutes worth of cold open here because we move into Chapel and Corby just catching up on everything that they've been doing, right? Like, there's some walk and talk happening, and we find out, all right, so this is all the stuff that they were researching in their time away together. Corby's worried that Starfleet / Spock are going to take over his archaeological dig and blah, 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 blah. My question to you is, do you pick up on the... Do you think that there is chemistry between these two?
Yes, I do, actually.
Yeah?
I think since Chapel's been shoved out the way, it's time for the new woman to go in.
Yeah, true.
I can sense it. I think it's been building up in the last few episodes. I think really I noticed it in the I can't remember the name of it with the younger Q episode.
The Trelawney episode.
Yes, Trelawney, that's right. Which I absolutely loved. Yes, I picked it up on there and I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, so this skips into the next bit of exposition, right? Because at the end of the last episode, we realized that Spock and Lana got a thing for each other. They kiss. And then I think I was expecting there to be a bit of like, oh, they're going to keep it a secret from Chapel. But right at the beginning of this episode, Chapel already knows about it. And La'an's basically like, yeah, we're fuck buddies now.
100%. That's exactly right.
I was like, literally, did they just become friends with benefits overnight? Do Vulcans even do that? What the hell?
I thought that Lan had a thing for, Kirk, but I guess not.
Yeah. She's like, there's got to be some kind of like meta joke about everyone wanting to go after the most emotionally unavailable man on the ship.
Who does not want to go after him? I mean, he's just a walking piece of meat. I mean, yes.
Oh, yeah. I was, if anyone saw the videos Kelvin was posting from STLV of him serving cocktails on the final night of the convention, I was just like, that shirt is revealing his arms in all the right places. Yep. Live long and choke me, daddy. Anyway. This is what it's going to be like. You got two gay men from Melbourne running the panel today.
I love this so much.
Well, I mean, like this whole walk and talk down the corridor between the two of them. Like, it seriously felt to me like a conversation between two gay men right after one of them's been on a couple of dates with someone from Grindr, right? Like, it's like, oh, no labels or anything, just fun times. He's really busy with work and he's got other stuff going on, so we're not labeling it. It's fine.
I really need to watch this episode again because I will admit that this whole week has been a very long week. I need to get down and watch an episode again.
Yeah. Johnny Mendoza in the chat is just going, friends with benefits until the 7th year. And then, we all know what happens then. Yeah, Jiggy Jiggy becomes serious after that point.
Or does he just rip her apart after that? Or?
Oh my goodness. Dear. We find out that Battel's treatments are going well, which should also signal that they are actually not, which we find out later that is the case. But I think my favourite part in the whole cold opener is the awkward elevator moment between Spock, Chapel, and Gamble, and that line, "She is an excellent dance instructor." Double entendre. All the way.
A lot more was going on than dancing. I mean, she was a beautiful dancer.
Yeah.
She was putting it all out there for him.
Yeah, legs 11. So we also find out here, because she goes, "Oh no, I know you and Corby are friends now." But it's weird. It's very, very weird. And I feel like they're just, because they've only got the 10 episodes, they're just trying to all right, let's just move this relationship business along a little bit. And I kind of like that's kind of all we get of the whole awkward romancy kind of stuff that's going on. They're like, yeah, whatever. I feel like the writers kind of started with it in the previous episodes, and then over these two episodes, they're gone, nah. Let's just write it out.
Wow. I'm absolutely loving this new exploration of Spock. The Spock that we didn't know before. What was it? He was on bloody Vulcan doing Collinar. I mean, that's probably all we know about him. Until, was it the first original series? It's a huge gap.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we know why. Now we got to find out why he turns out stone cold. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I think it started with Chapel, and then it seems like La'an's come along and taught him how to go even more stone cold. But anyway, and I agree. I know some people don't like it, but I think it makes sense that a younger version of him would be more emotionally swayed as he reconciles his human and Vulcan halves, and maybe matters of the heart mean that's the reason why he decides to embrace that Vulcan side more often. Who knows? So we've got Ortagus' brother is back, who's a little cutie too, by the way. It's good to have him back. They all beam down to the planet together for this archaeological dig. We meet the McCrun representative, just the one for this very important moment.
The red shirt alien.
The red shirt alien wearing his finest barnacle couture, by the way. Like, he looked like the wreck of the Titanic with that jacket on. What the hell was that? I mean, it was cool. Like, it was really, really cool.
It really was a fantastic, outfit, but yeah, it was all out there.
Yeah, and I loved the makeup and all that kind of stuff. Really amazing. And naturally, they're in a quarry. Because why wouldn't they be? Speaking of Star Trek tropes and cliches.
Is this all they have outside of LA?
Yeah.
Quarries and rocks? Oh, we know it's in Toronto, though.
Yeah. We've also got a little more flirting here between Uhura and... I can't remember his actual name, but I'm just going to call him Mr. Ortagus. But Ortagus' brother, the other Ortagus. God, what is his name? Does anyone know?
Cannot remember his name, but they were definitely fuck buddies on the ship.
Yeah. Well, because he's got his little AI camera that he says focuses on subtext and heat and rah. She's like, maybe that's why it's paying so much attention to us right now. But I feel we get all of that out of, like, again, all of the horniness is all in this first cold open, and then it's out of the way after that. But, I mean, moving to the end of the cold open, my favorite part, right, is they've got this big quarry that's been excavated, and then the Enterprise shoots down these beams, and then that shoots out into the quarry, and boom, giant temples there. And I'm like, all the McCrun had to do was just excavate another 2 feet. And they would have found the lost city of Atlantis. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that was a bit like, oh, okay. It was just right there, this fabulous opulent structure.
Yeah, like right there all along. And then we get, I don't know if they're paying homage to the fact that it's the 30th or 40th anniversary of Jaws this year, because Chapel gets out a communicator and is like, Captain, we're going to need a bigger landing party. Cue the credits. Did you like that line?
I love that one.
It was pretty funny. It made me giggle. So we come back from the cold open. We find out that the McCrun are direct descendants of an advanced civilization who traveled across multiple galaxies and potentially found immortality by creating quantum instability at a molecular level. We love a good, ancient civilization that had potentially dwarfed ours in terms of technology, don't we?
Yes, Hugh.
Yeah, exactly. And the entire final season of Discovery. And which, I mean, it makes sense. The universe is pretty big. There's probably been a lot of ancient civilizations out there. But I just read my note on this, though, because I'm like, okay, cool. Millennia of history and ancestry has resulted in the McCrun, the galaxy's most personality void species. Because Najar, or whatever his name on, didn't really do much.
No. They advanced so much to be stored in these little balls. I mean, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very like Dongong.
Yeah. So Chapel gets into the chamber, a little prick of the finger, so that means it now recognizes her DNA. Cool security system, by the way.
I thought her finger was going to get chopped off or something, because it was like, don't put your finger in there. I wouldn't do that.
I know, it was like a little, insulin EpiPen thing. Like, it was like an Ozempic needle. I was like, what is that? But, anyway, what I love next is how, Gamble runs up, like, oh my god, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, is everything all good? And I made a note here. So, everyone refers to Gamble as Ensign, but he's a nurse. No one refers to Chapel by her rank. It's always Nurse Chapel. And I'm like, I don't know what the deal with that is. Is there something going on that I'm not getting? Or is it just, they really want to highlight the fact that he's junior and you call him Ensign so you know he's junior. What do you think?
Look, I think they've just set up from the original series. They want her to be like the Nurse Chapel, like the iconic, the woman in that overly bleached blonde wig,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a bit confusing because he seems a lot more senior to me, the way he acts.
Yeah. I mean, he calls out that he's on the Enterprise at the start as, this is fresh out of the academy kind of thing. But I don't know why he gets called by his rank and not by the fact he's a nurse. I don't know. Maybe I missed something.
I don't know that one. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway, only the writers know. So we enter the chamber. Comms are blocked because, of course, they are. Only to discover 2 bodies of a couple of Tomb Raiders who no doubt died of starvation centuries ago. Yeah, that's pretty deep to think that, wow, okay, these 2 found this thing a long time ago and just died and rotted in there. And then I found the next conversation a little weird where, they couldn't get comms inside the thing, and Spock's like, oh, the danger level has risen, we need to alert the ship. Corby's obviously worried that doing that means that Pike will call the mission off. And it's this whole argument about it, but Spock literally has to walk 2 meters out the door, and he can hail the ship and let them know. Instead, they have this
He
big
can get the
committee meeting.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I kind of got it, but it didn't feel very logical from Spock. It's like, no, because Spock generally follows the rules, but maybe this younger Spock still hasn't kind of fallen in line that much yet. Do you reckon?
Yes, he is still easy manipulated.
Yeah. Dear. Okay, Johnny's just said in the chat that Chapel is a civilian nurse. Is that so? Okay.
Actually, he could be right. Yes, I think that's correct.
Yeah, that I very, very well spotted. Thank you. Well, there you go. I feel better about that now. Anyone who's listened to my Warp Speed review on Patreon where I ramble on about that as well, I apologize. A civilian nurse on exchange from the Stanford Morehouse epigenetic Okay. So, is someone on Memory Alpha, Johnny? Is that what's happening? Anyway, I don't know where that information came from, but fair enough. Anyway, Najal, the McCrun, gets the deciding vote, and they decide to stay. They find all kinds of artifacts. They talk about a memory stone. And then Gamble admires the shiny, glowing orb that one of the Tomb Raiders had stolen. And boom, he loses his eyes. Horrific, by the way.
That was really horrific. The whole oh my god, yes.
Yeah. And I've written here, surely Starfleet would have more protocols to follow around touching weird ancient artifacts inside a tomb that's been frozen for thousands of years. And you would just pick up something off the two guys who got stuck there and starved to death.
Yes, this was giving me Prometheus vibes. Remember when they go in that, the two dorky guys go into the separate room, and they're like, oh, cute snake. And then...
Yeah. So Gamble gets beamed up immediately, and Mbenga uses a cheap Temu Oculus Rift to try and regenerate his eyes. That thing looked terrible, by the way.
It was horrific.
It was like some novelty thing you'd get in a show bag at the Royal Melbourne Show. Seriously, what was that? But I did kind of think
a nightmare.
I mean, they could regenerate eyes in the 23rd century?
I was surprised by that. Just, I guess, put them there.
Yeah, that was odd. I was sort of like, because I was like, why did that never happen to Geordie? But I guess maybe it's because the eyes had just been blown out. Maybe because if you get to them straight away or something like that, you could regenerate.
Strange, because even if you go to Voyager and the Vidian episodes, they were talking about when Neelix had his liver taken or whatever, they had to regenerate one from an actual one to suit him.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a bit confused by that.
Yeah, so was I. It took me out of it a little bit, but now that I think about it, I think, maybe it's because it was straight away. If the tissue is still there, you can regenerate them.
Maybe that's true. Yeah, they got to build something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that cheap bit of plastic's got to have some kind of purpose to it. Anyway, we go back down to the planet. We get a glimpse of the next chamber, and we see the statue. And Najal freaks the fuck out. It's a bit of we're all going to die down here moment. He takes for the door, and he is immediately, boom, destroyed. And the door closes, and they're all locked in. Interesting that, it's Chapel's DNA that this place now recognizes. But the door won't reopen for her. But, again, ancient civilization, who knows why they do what it is they do. So they're all locked in, but the door's internally still open for Chapel. This is where the episode, I think, starts to kind of get really, really interesting. This is where the mystery sort of begins to take off. Everyone goes through the same door, but seems to be...
Stargate.
Yes, very Stargate. I've had some people sort of saying Doctor Who as well. But yeah, everyone's in a different place. Each room is kind of the same, but a little bit different. And the augmented reality wall is working overtime in the background with everything shifting and wobbling.
I couldn't get my eyes off that. Every time someone was talking, I was just watching the wall.
Yeah, exactly. It was a little distracting, wasn't it? Yeah. I did think it was some of the more realistic or more effective use of that AR wall technology. Sometimes, especially in Star Trek, I'm very aware of the fact that it's there. Like, I know that is some big screen that's displaying, like, computer graphics in the background. But this kind of looked kind of good.
It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah. I'm glad to see they've kind of got a little bit more confident with their use of it. Anyway, so everyone goes through the AR wall, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, back up on the ship, the Timu virtual reality is failing and doing nothing for Gamble's eyes. He also starts doing creepy things like when
on the bed.
Yeah, he just sort of sits up and starts glaring around. And then we find out he's dead.
Oh.
And he has a little panic attack, as I think you would if you were to receive that news.
I've got no brain.
I liked his realistic reactions, though, right? Like, of course you would freak out. Like, why would you be saying that? Like, I can't be dead. I'm here. I'm thinking. I'm not seeing, but I'm here.
That's, oh my goodness. That's like a bit like, it was like Death Becomes Her. You've got no pulse.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
yeah, exactly. Very much that energy. I also had a question as to, okay, you've just found out he's dead and he's having a panic attack, so you give the dead man a sedative.
Well, that's Star Trek's answer to everything. Oh, he's panicking. Give her a hyper spray now.
Yeah, quick bit of Valium.
I can't deal with this.
So sedative works on dead people. That's great. So anyway, back down to the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Chapel and Lana are in the room with the statue. We find out it's exhibiting quantum instability on a molecular level, and it also has got Chinese writing at its base.
Ooh.
Did they ever explain the Chinese writing?
No, I don't think they. No, they didn't.
I don't think they did either.
That was very interesting because I was looking at it going, oh, someone going to translate that? Hoorah, get over here. No.
Yeah. I think Lana's tricorder was translating it, but she's like, oh, it's an Earth language, Chinese, and this is what it says. And I'm like, yeah, but why? Why was there an Earth language there?
That's one of the little things you find out throughout Star Trek, where they just gloss over something and they never revisit it again.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it twice and I still didn't pick up on, and especially because when I do my note-taking for this on my second watch, I have got the captions on and everything, and I still did not pick up on an explanation as to why there was an Earth language there. Anyway. I love the La'an's like, what does all this mean? And Chapel's like all wide-eyed going, I have no idea, but I'm very excited about it.
I must say, just as a little comment, I'm loving Lan this season. She's going from stone cold, bitching rest face, to she's really alive now and with personality. It's really good to see.
Yeah, her character is moving on beyond the dimension of being Khan's descendant and being traumatized by seeing her whole family eaten by Gorn, which traumatize you, absolutely.
Really, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she's getting a little bit more depth. Spock and Corby are also doing a bit of problem solving. Spock finds his own VR headset, slightly more impressive this one. He got his from Amazon. I don't understand though why he could only see the orbs with the visor, and then he sees there's hundreds of thousands of these little orbs in the pit, and one comes up, and I think it's like a Gorn jumps out at him. Like, or he sees a Gorn screaming. Yeah.
Was
So
that
that's
trying to give him nightmares? Was that what it was trying to do?
yeah, I don't know. There's bits and pieces in this episode which went a little unexplained. For as good as the episode was, I thought that there was going to be tension between Spock and Corby, and that's why they got trapped together. And there was a bit, but it was a little underbaked. Like, that's the only thing I would say about everyone being trapped in the different. Because even Uhura and Ortagus' brother are trapped together, and then their kind of sexual. There's nothing that kind of advances their sexual tension or chemistry either. All those little components are a little underbaked for me, anyway. I like the next scene, though. So we're now problem-solving with Sam, Pelia, Scotty, Pike, and Ortagus' very flat new hairdo. This has been the season of inconsistent hairstyles, by the way. Did you notice that as well? Like, Ortagus' hair, it looked like she'd just gotten out of the shower or something.
I did notice that. It's gone from, I'm allowed to say, power lesbian to like, oh, okay.
Power lesbian with wet hair. You're like, am I allowed to say that? I noticed that they're in the this new science lab, and I noted here that I don't think we've seen the engineering set at all this season. They're always in this science lab. What happened to engineering? Did the set burn down? Were they using it for Starfleet Academy and they just what happened?
I will admit I'm a bit grey with this scene, so.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, cool. But do you know what I'm talking about? Have you noticed that the old, if you think about it, have you seen the engineering set that they've used in the first 2 seasons?
Yes.
It hasn't not been in this season at all.
No, it hasn't been.
They're always in. Scotty and Pelia are always in this new science lab set, which is much smaller. It's very odd.
Yes, I have not. Yes, what the hell happened? Is it going through Renos?
Yeah, it could be. That's what I just think that they were probably using that part of the set for Starfleet Academy, so it was off limits.
No, that's true. Yes.
Pelia starts freaking out that the orb was older than anything she'd ever seen, and it gives her quote-unquote the heebie-jeebies. And can I just say, I love that Pelia was back for this episode. She's so good.
She is, oh my goodness. I love her. She's just, I think she brings all the gays to Star Trek.
Absolutely, yeah. Carol Kane's amazing.
She is like the Amy.
She's the Amy. Oh my god, Amy. She's the Amy of Strange New Worlds, bringing all the gays to the yard. Oh, Amy would love that, especially from the man who made her wait in line for hours to get a signing of STLV. Inside joke there, by the way.
I'm so sorry, Amy.
So anyway, that's interesting because usually nothing phases her. We go back to sickbay and possessed Gamble. Johnny liked that last joke. Possessed Gamble is now talking about Mbenga's dead daughter, which he should not have any knowledge about. He's got intimate details coupled with creepy dialogue about, was that what you saw? Was that just some alien wearing her skin and eating her dreams and all this like creepy, icky kind of stuff? Like that was good. I was generally creeped out at that bit. Like I was feeling.
Yeah, I was
it in
too. That was like the second sign that yes, he's dead and there's an alien now.
Yeah. And then Battel rocks up with a migraine looking for some Nurofen Zavance. And then Gamble just kind of sits up and goes, I wrote the word here, Kalikachna. And then, boom, she goes like full, like crouching tiger, hidden dragon Battel. Like something awakens in her Gorn DNA. And yeah, martial arts ensues. What did you think of this scene?
I loved it. It was like, wow. Like, I was expecting, like, if you go back to the when she was going to be like a Gorn hybrid, I was like, oh shit, she's going to slowly transform into some Gorn. But really, she's turned into freaking it's Superwoman now.
Yeah, exactly. And she explains to Pike later on that whatever she couldn't explain what happened, but whatever she felt towards him was a real, like, fear that whatever he was or whatever was inside him needed to die.
To be eliminated.
So whatever they are, the Gorn are also terrified of them, but know of them as well, which is interesting. Which is the Gorn are much older than
Yes,
what
a
we
much
might
more
know.
ancient civilization.
Yeah, that's only just occurred to me just now as well. Gamble takes off. First of many red shirts die here. Catches up with him in the corridor. There's a red shirt dead off to the side. He's got another one held at gunpoint. And all I could focus on was how brightly lit this scene was. Like, we've got a man with just two gaping eye holes where his eyeballs used to be, killing people. He's standing in the middle of this corridor, and it was lit like a shopping mall. Like, it's like, it's so bright for everything that's going on. Like, why is it so bright? What is happening? That may have just been me who noticed that. And maybe because I've been listening to the Delta.
It was
You
hugely
did?
bright.
Yeah, and it felt like everything was very wide as well. I'm like, are the corridors usually this wide? I feel like I've been listening to the Delta Flyers too much, and I'm starting to look at things like Robbie Duncan McNeil does, like a director.
I think they're trying to really highlight the horror of the situation. They're really focusing on that. So I think the background really helped the audience to really, kind of must feel the terror of, I don't know, someone, walking around with no eyeballs, an alien, and yeah.
Yeah, it was. I've seen it a few times. I just think that maybe the lighting was good because we got to see it all, but I think it also, for me, it distorted the visual effect of the eyes a little bit. I'm like, it felt a little off. Like, it wasn't bad, just something about it felt off. He talks him down pretty quickly though, and I love how the security guard is basically like, sick bay or brig, sir, and then you see him get, brig, throw him in the brig. Which we find out later does not really do much for him anyway, but back down to the planet, Uhura and Ortagus have some cute little interactions, and the documentary camera is still going, which he only now, like, they've been there for ages, and now he suddenly looks at it and goes, oh, it's still going. Oh, look, we're all in the same room. Which is cool. I mean, that was, we kind of got to that resolution very quickly.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. We find out now that the orbs or the parasites, so they argue a bit, right? Like, is this a palace? Is it a lab? And then dramatic music. It's a prison. Dun, 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 dun. And I kind of forget how, I don't know, they do a little bit of problem solving. Everyone's got a little piece of the puzzle. I liked that, like, oh, okay, Uhura, you've got that piece, put it there. Spock, you've got that piece, put it there. And then that's how they kind of all get back together. That was cool. That was a bit of...
I did like it. It was good.
Yeah, a bit of classic Trek problem solving. So they're all back together, and the door is now floating in midair, just out of reach. I don't know, did you ever play, like, Legend of Zelda? This made me think of, like, a Legend of Zelda, like, dungeon puzzle that you've got, or any kind of video game puzzle that you've got to figure your way to the door that's floating just out of reach.
Yes, give me 1990s vibes, Nintendo, yes.
Yes, no, yeah, it's like, I'll need to come back when I've got the hook shot to be able to get out of here. So we continue, there's a bit of paradoxal problem solving going on. I love that La'an does this a lot. There's a scene where Spock explains the whole paradoxal nature of everything that's going on, and La'an's just like, she says something, but I can't remember the exact quote, but I wrote down in my notes as the translation. She's like, yeah, I don't understand that. Say it in English, doofus. Like, it's just basically whatever. She does that a lot to Spock. She's like, all right, for those of us in the cheap seat, Spock, what exactly do you mean by that? Which she says to the guy she's banging, by the way. So-
Isn't that how you usually treat the other person you're banging? You just start doing half-wit comments?
I mean, it's been a while since I've been in that situation, but yes, I guess, yeah. Maybe it's a little bit of underhanded flirting that no one else is aware of. Yeah,
underhanded, yeah. Because I think being underhanded is a way of flirting as well.
yeah, that's true. That's true. So, like, that's kind of their thing, just friends, just fun times, and she degrades him, and that's what he likes. And no kink shaming here or anything, but that's all good. So causality is reversed. Let's take a leap of faith and walk across the empty space to the door, which was, I think we've seen this before. It was a little cliche that was going to have to happen, but it was kind of cool. I liked that everyone's arguing about who gets to risk certain death, and Spock's like, Chapel's got to do it. Off you go, girl. Yeah. Scooch on, if you would. Because she's the key. Much like Buffy's sister in season 5 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love it. I thought this was a bit cheesy. He rambles off a little bit of romantic poetry to convince her to go. And I'm like, oh, I wanted to throw up in my mouth. I was like, I'm over it.
Yeah, Spock's not good at that stuff.
Yeah. And anyway, so that works. Hold my hand. I don't know why. If Chapel's the key, why does La'an have to do it? It's like she holds La'an's hand and they both do it. It's like, why did she... Like, what if La'an just like Chapel was able to walk and La'an just like fell straight to her death?
Well, I was kind of expecting that because I thought, Nurse Chapel's the key, not anyone else. She has to do everything on her own.
Yeah, very weird, very weird. Anyway, it works. And they get out, and I'm like, they're back into the quarry, and I'm like, where are the McCrun? Like, the McCrun know that this happened. Like, why didn't any of them others show up to be like, oh, you're safe, thank God? They just were like, no, don't care about you. You knew what you were signing up for. Deal with it.
Just one McCrun on that whole planet.
Yeah. Going back to the Battel Gorn conversation, John said in the chat, Nick from Sci Fanatics is speculating that the Gorn Kirk fights in TOS is actually Battel fully transformed into a Gorn. He's basing some of his ideas on what Battel's outfit matching her outfit matching the Kirk's Gorn outfit. I've heard similar. The first time I actually heard that, Johnny, was from Kelvin. He was the first person who speculated that to me. That's running wildfire. Do you think, Stephen? Do you think that's what we're going to see?
Oh my goodness, I have not even thought about this.
Have you not heard this rumor? No, that's what everyone's saying, that they think that it's going to be... Because, that Gorn in TOS's arena is somewhat more human-looking.
Yes.
And very buff. Very buff. But
So it's a lover's quarrel.
It could be. It could be. Yes, because... Kirk sends Pike back to live with Vina in the menagerie, and so Battel returns to be like, he was my man. And she sent him back to her. It works. It works.
I like this. I like this theory. It's great.
Yeah. So, plot point A is resolved here. Plot point B, back up on the ship. Eyeless Gamble kills another red shirt, but this time by, reaching through the force field, which is kind of cool. I also, he was doing a fabulous job of being, creepy here, because he's going, he's your mother. She's in pain. Why did you leave her? And he's like, what the fuck? And then reaches out, kills him. And Benga tries to talk him around, but not before Peleus shoots him in the back. But he knows who Pelia is as well, because he's like, hello, Lanthanite child. So he knows of her and her civilization. So she's obviously we know she's like 5,000 years old, but obviously her civilization is much more ancient than we know too. And then you see a little possession thing come out of his body, and they store him in the transporter buffer. Something which was highly experimental and hard to do in TNG's Relics when Scotty shows up much later, but gets done all the time. It's Strange New Worlds.
Better hope no one opens that program.
Exactly.
Dr. Moriarty.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This should have been the lesson that helped us with Moriarty, but anyway. Back to the briefing room for our galaxy-ending disaster debrief. Everyone is reflecting on just how evil the Orb prisoners were, and Peleus starts getting super serious, like really serious about how ancient the evil is. And I was like, all right, this is a bit much.
What was the quote she said again?
I can't remember the full quote, but because it goes on for a bit, and and it gets really serious, and the lighting, and it pulls focus on her, and all that kind of stuff. But that's not even the good bit. The good bit is just when she stops and goes, "Do you want me to do another one for the camera?" Oh my god! Hands down, my favorite moment of Strange New Worlds ever.
Oh my goodness.
And he's like, no, it's fine. She's like, suit yourself. I was like, what a great way to end that. That was so good. We all laugh, but before the credits roll, M'Benga is reviewing the data of the stored gamble in the transporter buffer, calls his parents to tell them what happened. I wonder how accurate he is on what he tells them. And the screen glitch before the credit rolls, which says to us, this is not over. Which reminded me very much of the transmission noise you hear at the end of TNG's Conspiracy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Where it goes out to space and you hear the transmission going off going, oh, this is going to be back. Not that it ever did come back, but... So there we go. That was Through the Lens of Time. So how do you feel now after revisiting all of that?
Wow, there is a lot to unpack in that episode. Obviously, stuff that I've missed. But wow, what an incredible episode. I wonder if this is now setting the stage for the downfall of our good Doctor.
Well, he had a lot of screen time in this episode, but we haven't seen a lot of him throughout the season. I mean, he had a whole episode earlier on, but then he's had lots of smaller bits here and there. It could be, because there are characters that we know are just not going to go on.
Yes, exactly, and he's one of them.
Yeah, and we also know now that Strange New Worlds is going to potentially conclude with Kirk taking over command of the Enterprise. That's what they're building towards in the 6-episode final season. So I wonder if they'll do I think they will. I hope that they don't kill them all. I hope that not all of some of them just go off and do something fun and wonderful and have wonderful careers moving ahead. But yeah, what do you think?
No, I'm afraid. Look, I'm afraid. For our Doctor, it's going to be a bit of a downfall for him because losing. What was his nephew? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's a traumatic experience in itself. I don't think that's something that he's probably going to get over very easily.
Indeed. But let's before we continue on with this very serious conversation, to join us for the recap of the second episode, it's Peter from the Trek Book Club. Hello there, how are you?
Hello. Hey, Davey. Hello. Hey,
Hello.
Stephen. How are you doing?
Good.
Sorry. Sorry. A little late joining, but I was actually listening in on the first half, but I didn't have a whole lot to add to it, so I figured I'll just join for the second half. It's a little bit of a blur that episode, so but I could at least join for the second one, the second half.
Oh, good. Well, you've joined right on time. So obviously the Sehlat that ate its tail is much fresher in your mind. Is that right, Peter?
Yep, you got it exactly.
Dear. Well, why don't we move on then? Let's jump into that since you're here. So the Sehlat that ate its own tail. Peter, your overall impressions of this episode?
I mean, I liked it a lot. I think it's one of my favorite of the season 3 Strange New Worlds, and probably one of the favorite just Strange New Worlds in general. I think it's sort of the character development for Captain Kirk was one of the highlights of this episode, and it helped connect the Kirk that we saw in TOS, a little bit of a more experienced Kirk, and it gave a little bit of an origin story or origin mission on how that Kirk came to be. So, when we were watching TOS, that Kirk, already had a lot of the sort of the attributes of characteristics of a leader, and so this was one of the kind of a little bit of a retcon, but it was a good way of showing us how he's starting to get to that to that point. So overall, I enjoyed it. It was a good episode. Yeah,
definitely. What about you, Stephen?
Yeah, it was a great episode. I have to agree there. Just seeing the origin story of Kirk there, sort of doubting himself and in going through a sort of a moment where he had to really show leadership. And then you saw Spock, go into the room with him to try and sort of mentor him. And it's like, oh, here's the little spark moment of, when these two start their little friendship. I was like, wow, I was really excited about that.
Yeah, it was a lovely little moment because they kind of split the A and the B stories up somewhat between everyone who we know goes on to be in TOS, and then everyone else was kind of left aboard the Enterprise. So it was a fun little romp in that regard. So let's step through the story. So my first thought, though, I have to include, this is my first note, by the way, is so we're pretty much just forgetting Spock and La'an's romance, and we're also forgetting Ortagus's rebellious PTSD character arcs at this point. They're pretty much... none of that exists. Which I'm oddly okay with at the same time.
I think the role that takes over that is Scotty. Scotty is like, Captain, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, Scotty was great in this episode. Scotty was really, yeah, I'm really enjoying him. So, look, we start with the return of Paul Wesley as Kirk in one of his rare appearances that is not an alternate reality or timeline or a hologram. So this is canon him because they sneak him in so much in a it's the first time he appears, it's that flash forward that never happens, and then it's tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, which is very timey-wimey. And then when he was in Space Adventure Hour, he was a hologram. So it's all funny, but I loved this version of him. Like Peter was saying, I really enjoyed it. He's aboard. So we're hearing a log entry. He's on the Farragut under Captain Varel. They're arriving for a geological review of a planet. And he's talking about how boring it is. I think particularly under the Vulcan captain.
Oh, and he's gossiping about the crew.
Yeah.
Like, Betty, fucking her emotions, and I can't deal with this.
It's yeah, and I like that we're sort of seeing that you know that
Ah,
it's yeah, and I like that we're sort of seeing that you know that young Kirk who's like he's just itching for a bit of risk taking. We're sort of seeing that you know that young Kirk who's like taking in a bit of adventure. It's all like, oh, we never take any risks. Everything's always so boring and by the book and rah rah rah. And anyway, it's like this is just so routine. Like I want to be the one making the decisions. So, you know, again, that's probably a little foreshadowing. Because you know our Kirk's going to learn some heavy lessons of command here, which we know he absolutely does not take on with him for the rest of. You know, get on the ground, do a better review. Probably not a great idea because the planet immediately starts exploding, which was like, whoa. And I thought this was going to be our cold open here done. I have made a note here because during that whole scene, like the ship gets rocked, everyone gets thrown around, and Captain Varel just kind of catapults out of the captain's chair, and I was like, that was a little too dramatic. Did anyone else notice how weird that looked? It's like the camera caught her right as she stood up, and she's like, "Oh, hang on, whoa!" Like it throws herself off camera.
it's a bit like the commander, or whatever his name is, on the first of the caretaker episode, when they go through when that, what do you call it, the
Cabot, the
yeah, and he's sort of like
yeah.
at the right moment he's sort of like, oh, like he wanted to die.
If anyone who's listening to the audio replay, go to YouTube because you're really going to miss Stephen throwing himself around his kitchen and the tour he's taken us on of his whole house while he's being on his iPhone. That's hilarious. But yes, I do agree with you. So we come back, comms are down. Kirk is the only remaining kind of person conscious apart from that one random Farragut crew member who just sort of stays there the whole time. And we see something large and ominous, but we don't get to see what it is because, bam, cold open is over. A proper cold open, by the way, Stephen, unlike the one I complained about in the first episode. And opening credits. I like this as a cold open. It felt traditional Star Trek cold open to me, don't you reckon?
It really did.
Like it was fast paced, it was dramatic, and it was like, oh, I want skip intro. I want to see what happens next. So we come back from the credits. The Enterprise warps in to save the day. But how did the Enterprise know? Did they get off I don't know if I missed it, but did they get off a distress signal before comms went down? How did the Enterprise know to come?
Well, this is part of that trope, right? The one in which the Enterprise is the closest ship to any emergency.
Exactly right.
Yeah, but
in the quadrant,
it doesn't get explained.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. I feel like it did not get explained at all. It's literally just, the Enterprise is there because of course they are. Comms were down. There's no mention of a distress signal. The Enterprise doesn't even say, oh yeah, we detected. I mean, it's possible they detected the explosion from wherever they were. But again, it's just left up to the audience to assume, which I find a little frustrating. But anyway, we get a proper away team. Like, not one led by the captain. This is a very TNG away team. We've got Spock, Scotty, Chapel, Uhura, and La'an. Made up mostly of our TOS characters, ready for their first adventure with their future captain. And also, all comms are down again, even their ship to ship and all that kind of stuff. The random bridge crew member, her name is Alvarez. So she's literally the only member of the Farragut crew who is still capable of doing anything. It seems like everyone else is dead or injured. Which I think that was a gripe I've seen people talk about on the Discord. I don't know if you've noticed this, but people were just like, "Where was the rest of the Farragut crew? Like, literally, where were they? Like, there can't have been that many of them dead or injured that no one else could come and work on the bridge. Do you reckon?"
Well, he was bitching about them in the monologue, so they must have been all frozen in fear. I don't know.
Yeah. That was just like, yeah, not helping him out. Screw that. Did you notice that as well, Peter? Though that like they,
I think in general, I think a lot of maybe like current Trek a little bit in which there's not as many extras or background as much as in older some of the back in the day episodes or the shows. Maybe I don't know. It's probably like maybe it's budget reasons or just they just wanted to focus on the foreground rather than the background. But yeah, it hasn't done as much. Yeah,
I mean. It was still. I mean, it was still cool to have. I mean, I loved the whole TOS kind of setup on the Farragut's bridge. Mm-hmm. But I still think you could have had some other crew members running around apart from poor Alvarez.
She was doing a lot. I think she was doing a lot of heavy lifting. She was like from I think multiple stations. She was depending on the the particular needs of the moment. She was like bouncing back and forth.
If I was her, I would just like, can all of these annoying people on secondment from the Enterprise please just get the hell out of my way?
Get the hell out of my ship.
The brilliant Uhura manages to get line of sight between the two ships, so our Pike and Kirk get a little bit of a chat, and they theorize about that whatever destroyed, I think it was called Halcyon Gamma, must have been one big mother trucking starship. They're like, whatever it was, it must have been huge. And boy, were they right, because here comes straight away. There's no mystery about it. It just comes, and it's got a mouth, and it's got tentacles, and it's got claws. Like, was this designed by, like, a bunch of, like, 1980s anime enthusiasts? Like, what the hell was this thing? It's huge. But Peter, what did you make of it?
I mean, it was. It actually reminded me a little bit of the at the Picard season 1, the end, like the final episode. We had brief glimpses of the tentacle things through the portal. But we never really see much of it.
The thing that comes. Remember? I know.
Yeah, it kind of came partially through the portal, but the hero saved the day, and they didn't come through. But we got glimpses of it, so those tentacles actually reminded me of that of Picard season 1. But it was a definitely alien and different than anything we've really seen before. So it was kind of threatening. So I think that they made it look very ominous, and they did a pretty good job getting that across. Yeah,
it could have come off as a little comical, but it was it was still exciting. What did you think, Stephen?
It was definitely sort of terrifying. I mean, it was this floating monster in space, and it was so big and so powerful that whatever these two ships could do, it was just dense. And I think the design came across as something that I've never seen. So as an audience, we all got to go, whoa, what is this? We have no idea.
Yeah, although I haven't heard anyone else say this, but I immediately started thinking of the Pakleds from Lower Decks and their ship.
Oh, no.
I was like, another Enterprise.
Oh, no. Oh, imagine if we went to the screen, I was like, oh, it's a Pakleds.
I know, because that's the Pakled ship in Lower Decks did that. It had all the tentacles that came out and would rip the ships apart and all that kind of stuff. Like, consuming everything. And I was like, oh my God, it's the Pakleds. But no one else, I've seen no one else make that comment online, so purely that's just a me thing. So Enterprise gets eaten by this space behemoth, and it's kind of like warps right through the Farragut. By the way, like it just goes boom, and it's out of there.
Oh, it wasn't interested in us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, Farragut looks like a pretty boring ship from everything we learned so far. So Kirk is left as captain of the Farragut. Chapel beamed Varel to the Enterprise for an emergency surgery that, unsurprisingly, a nurse was not qualified to perform. Also, I also wrote here. Also, nurses are awesome. So not discounting not discounting our wonderful nurses. So that's kind of cool. Enterprise is wrapped in vines inside the belly of the beast. Also, comms are down. This is 2 episodes in a row, by the way. Comms being down. We find out at least why the Enterprise crew aren't really around, because they sent runners out, Pike describes, to tell everyone to huddle together safe in central locations in the middle of the ship, because systems like life support and heating and all that kind of stuff were going to start failing. But also the runners being sent around the ship were not returning, which meant that they'd already been boarded. And that was kind of cool. I was getting chills at this point. I was like, this is kind of freaky, whatever's going on here. Peter, what did you kind of make as this was all starting to unveil itself?
Yeah. I mean, I was, getting kind of more and more vested into the story and wondering how it was going to turn out. I think it's like each scene kind of got more. They were in trouble more and more. There was just more and more threats that was coming to them, and so I wasn't sure how it would all conclude or how they would resolve it. So I think they built up the tension pretty well by sort of layering each more and more challenges to Kirk on the Farragut, and to Pike and crew on the Enterprise. So I think that was one of the reasons. Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why I enjoyed this one, because of that.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like the episode that came before us. It was A and B plots just blending seamlessly together. I like when the A and the B plots support each other. Which sometimes newer Trek doesn't do as well. Sometimes even older Trek didn't do it that. Like the B plot could be so far removed from what was going on elsewhere. I like that immediately. I think it was like Laan, Ortagus, and pretty much everyone on the bridge crew all of a sudden remembers a story about some mythical ship. Like the Klingons knew about it. Someone's professor at the academy knew about it. And they're like, oh, that
is of the known space.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Marauding.
Yeah, but obviously this is it. And that's kind of how they explain this, because they're like, oh, well, this must be it. That rumor that literally every single civilization seems to have about this ship, it's here. We go straight to our TOS crew, who are solving problems. I loved that Kirk got a little pissy at Spock for quoting regulations. I don't know if you picked up on that, but that's something we know. Like Kirk, later on, like in the movies, it's like you never quote regulations to the captain, not to Kirk anyway. Did you notice? I don't know if you saw that scene, but like he gets really triggered by that, and he's like immediately, he's like, "Don't you quote that to me?" Blah blah blah. Did we like this kind of like? Because I think through this whole episode, we got some foundational groundwork of all the relationships that we know that these different characters are going to have together. What did you think of that, Stephen?
Yeah, no, I did know, like I said earlier on, I really picked up on the banter between Kirk and Scotty. Because at this point here, Scotty's like, Captain, you're MIA. We need you. So you got a bit of a setup there, and I really enjoyed seeing us as an audience have an opportunity to explore Scotty more, because at the moment he's been sort of background until now.
Yeah, exactly. And Peter, what did you make of Scotty kind of being kind of a little bit lippy with Kirk? Yeah. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I think Strange New World Scotty was a little bit, I don't know if annoyed might be too strong, but maybe he spoke his mind,
He spoke his
outspoken
mind.
more. Yeah, more. I think TOS Scotty also spoke his mind, but I think being more seasoned or more experienced and older, he didn't speak his mind all the time. I think the younger Scotty did that more, and we saw that. We saw,
Yeah.
especially here, I think he was under. I mean, everybody was under sort of a lot of stress, and I think there's always the engineer or the chief engineer that that has to do the miracle working. So and he's not, young Scotty isn't, still kind of, trying to learn everything. So I think he was under stress, but he showed a bit of annoyance to the captain, to Captain Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah, and we do get the reference to miracle worker, because he's like, it's time to start working some miracles, Lieutenant Scott, which was pretty cool. I do agree. Yeah, I thought the same thing, because there's even a moment where Kirk kind of talks him down a little bit, because Scotty was, when you think about it, always he's a bit of a grump, right? Like, he's always like, oh, bloody hell, what are they done that for? Like, there's always a little bit of that going on. But he was just so Scottish in this episode, by the way. Like, I've got a note here: Scotty is fixing the ship and shouting at the ship in Scottish slang. Which is one point. There's a so back on the Enterprise as well, we also find out that there's a Klingon D7 cruiser trapped with them inside the scavenger ship. And if the Klingons could not fight their way out, what hope do the Enterprise crew have? We find we're back with the Enterprise as well. We find Pelia, who immediately again starts chewing the scenery and cracking us up. This is where she mentions that because that's right, she comes around the corner. And they hold the guns up. She's like, "Don't shoot." She goes, "I didn't get to be nearly 5,000 years old by getting shot a lot." And what a brilliant use of Carol Kane, by the way. Like, it's like, if you're gonna use her, make her say something hilarious the moment she appears on camera.
As we go deeper in the exploration of this episode, oh my goodness, I caught myself laughing. But we'll wait until we get there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. But so anyway, she mentions the umbilical, which has been jammed into the ship's hull, and they need to come up with a plan to disconnect it. We go back to the Farragut, lots of jumping back and forth. We find out that the scavengers were after something called aldentium, which is a rare mineral which cooks pasta perfectly, like the Italians do. Ba-boom tish. Anyway, and the next closest place is somewhere called Sullivan's Planet. Love TOS where we name planets like this, by the way.
Yes.
Like, it's a very TOS kind of thing there. Which is pre-warp, so they can't warn them, and they need to lay a trap. Scotty is not on board because they want him to go to full warp and take over the scavengers. Scotty tells Kirk that his bum is out the window, whatever that means.
His ass is out the window. He's leading with his ass, not his brain.
Sorry. Talking out your ass is probably the closest Aussie translation I can think of, Stephen. Again, more of what you were talking about before, Peter, in terms of that building that relationship and that dynamic between them. But that's it. They're going to do it. They're going to go to the plan. Next scene, back on the Enterprise. Did anyone else think that Ortagus was trying to hotwire the ship? Like, she's sitting there banging. Remember, she's banging two wires.
A literal one, yeah.
Yeah. Which, again, Ortagus is kind of back to her normal self here, which was good, because I didn't want to see her kind of traumatized the whole season. That wasn't the arc I wanted for her.
Yeah.
Pelia arrives and cracks us up again by reminding us that she was alive in the 80s. And it seems that the 80s may... you liked that one, Stephen?
I loved it.
That's just so she just comes in, hands on her hip, and she goes, "Oh, I'm lucky I lived through the 1980s." She's so funny.
She's the Tic Notaro for Discovery. She's just fantastic.
Yeah.
She really, really is. And perfect comic relief as well. We were saying before, Peter, that we haven't got a lot of Pelia this season, but she's been a tour de force in these 2 episodes in particular.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just been so much fun to have her back.
Yeah.
Pike and Lana,
and I hope,
you go.
yeah. I'm sorry. I just hope that she, with Scotty being there, it's like, I just hope she continues to, be a major player in the show. So I know there's a transition, and eventually she'll have to leave, but I do hope that will be a long ways off before that comes.
Definitely. I think that maybe. Yeah. I mean, Carol Kane's not considered like one of the she's core cast, but she's also not core cast. So maybe not having her featured so much was a bit of a chance for us to get used to Scotty and get to like Scotty a little bit. Yeah. And now they've brought her back, which is good. Pike and La'an find the umbilical cord, and it's being tended to by the captors in their big evil spacesuits, who reminded me kind of some of the aliens from the Mass Effect game series. I don't know. Have either of you played those, or is it just me?
A little bit.
A little bit. I saw both of you go, that's a no. The Farragut successfully overtakes the scavengers. Kirk gets a little cocky prematurely here, which was very funny. And, like, he's just like, drinks, yeah, whatever. Like, you can all buy me a drink. And, well, I did it. And he kind of takes a very satisfying slide into the center seat for the first time. And he does like the full William Shatner pose and everything. I think, I can't remember, was there a little bit of like TOS kind of music playing in the background then as well? So Steven's pulling, if anyone listening on audio, Steven's pulling the Kirk pose right now. But it was too soon. It was all too soon. The warp engines basically are stuffed now. Giant paperweights, as Scotty calls them. And the crew needs to figure out what to do to catch up to the scavengers. But Kirk is shutting down here. This was Stephen, what did you make of all of this? Because I thought he was saying, basically, I don't care about your opinions because I'm Kirk and I've got the answer. But it turns out he was actually really stressed and like, I have no idea what to do. What did you make of this?
One of the things I think lacks in a lot of like the original series is we don't get to see like the insecurities, and throughout Strange New Worlds we are seeing this, and it's the insecurities that it ultimately make them a bigger person. So he's having a really anxiety sort of meltdown. You're all screaming at me. I can't deal with you. Let me think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Peter, what about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, same thing. When I was watching that scene, I was a little bit taken aback because I just never saw Kirk that way before. So this was really, kind of going to, our comments earlier at the start of this segment. It was a chance to see him just being very uncertain, just not sure what to do because of, like what he thought it would be the answer wasn't the answer, and it's gotten worse, and then how to get out of it. So I think everybody kind of reaches that, in their life, just either
I've really
work or family, it's just what do I do? I don't know. So it's good to see that, and then it was good to see others help him get through this.
Yeah, and it was nice to add a bit of flaw to the character that we know and love, because he was not always instinctively this heroic captain we know him to be. He was young, brash, and his risk-taking got him into a lot of trouble. And we know that because he learns, I mean, we'll get to it soon, but he learns a very heavy lesson in this episode about command, and command on this scale of a starship where whole planets and civilizations hang in the balance. So yeah, I agree. It was a really, really, really cool moment. There's a very cute scene where Kirk dashes off to the ready room to sulk, and there's a lot of genuine concern. Like they're all like the random Farragut crew member. She's like, he's had the con before, but not like this. I thought that was kind of cool. And Uhura's like, he's still figuring out his command style. And I love that it's this group that all band together to basically like, we got to help him. Because at first Chapel starts going, well, I can relieve him of duty. And
on
they're
medical
like,
grounds.
Exactly, yeah. Which normally is what you might expect would happen, right? Like, you know, the captain's kind of, he's out of it. But they're like, no, we need to help him.
But it's Uhura that comes to the rescue. I know him. I've seen him at his lowest.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He rises to the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. You're very right there. And then Spock decides that a clearly less emotional approach is needed, which I thought was hilarious. So he agrees to speak with Kirk, which is cool. Really cute scene. Really touching. I mean, a little cheesy. Don't get me wrong, a little cheesy, but I don't know.
It's a good intro to their relationship, their future relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a bit of fan service, and it's nice. It's fun fan service. So back to the Enterprise, more firefights with aliens are taking place. Random crew member dies. Pike and La'an are now trapped in the bar as the aliens try to break down the door. And Pike's favorite imported spirit is somehow used as a Molotov cocktail. Which was, again, that was funny. It's like, I had this is specially imported from a Lanthian distillery. And La'an's like, I'll import you another one. Frozen. Oh, dear. I like that we're seeing more of these like dynamics and character moments now between these characters, because it's hard to have with such a short space of time. Which was really, really fun. So that sorry, go Peter.
Yeah, I just really quick. I kind of like how they incorporate the bar into the stories from time to time as well. So that's it ended up being one of my favorite sets of all. Surprisingly, this is that whole restaurant lounge 10 foot. The
social space,
that area. Yeah. So that was nice that they added that in there.
The next scene, I think, is Stephen's favourite from what he was talking about before, because we arrive in Pelia's quarters. And we see M'Benga for like one of two times in the whole episode. Her quarters. Oh my God. Go, Stephen. I feel like you've been waiting for this moment.
Oh my God. I just caught myself on the floor laughing. I mean, she literally stored all her shit in there, and seeing that, was it the cat clock? What is it?
Oh, yeah. She was like, you were cute, and then you just became creepy.
It was like, wow, like, what have you got?
I know. And did you notice the Andy Warhol portrait of herself on the wall?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want that on my wall.
No, I mean, look, it would stand. It's so funny, right? Because we're so used to seeing Starfleet quarters aboard starships be very minimalist. Yeah, immaculate. They're always very well preserved. And like, come on, surely there's still hoarders and messy people in the 23rd century. And she's been hoarding for centuries.
He has got a museum collection in there. It is, oh my goodness. I could be in her quarters for days. I just love it.
Yeah. And she clearly went to her boxes of 1980s stuff, because she pulls out the cat clock, but she also pulls out an Atari.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
She was like, a lot of fun on a Friday night. She pulls an Atari out, and then a bunch of telephones, to which Ortagus thinks the handset is a personal massager. I'm like, which reminds me of the personal massages you can buy on
guess
Team
what? I bought my little prop out too.
Ah, there you go, your own personal massager.
Okay.
That's so cute. But she has a lot of telephones. She's got one of everything else, but she's got like 10 telephones. I mean, all right. So, I mean, whilst this was all fun, the telephone thing, right? So, I mean, it kind of makes sense because they're like, all right, we can communicate these because it's grounded, communication over the wire. So let's hook them up to the wiring of the ship, which would probably take a bit of time with the bad guys running around. Was this fun or too silly? What did you think, Stephen?
It was fun. I mean,
It was fun.
It was, like I said, I was just laughing the entire time, just seeing them just act in a way that I did not expect whatsoever. I mean, they're like, seriously, they do need to open the line of communications, but at the same time, they're doing it in such a comical way. I love it.
And what about you, Peter?
I mean, it was fun. I mean, I like that scene. I enjoyed that thing. Probably the only little thing, and this is probably the critic in me, is that I just thought that whole segment, that whole process took a little bit long and took a little bit sort of screen time away from the other portions of the story. So I'm glad it was in there, and it kind of gave a little, gave a little humor on the couple of, because the rest of the episode was kind of serious. So it was good that they added that in. But I just thought that it was that was a lot of work to get to that point. Yeah.
I'm on the fence. I go between thinking it was really fun, especially on my second watch. I think I enjoyed it a bit more than I did on the first watch. Sometimes I'm like, oh no, it's kind of fun. Then other times I'm like, oh no, it's a bit silly. And I'm definitely seeing arguments online for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Just quickly, Johnny Mendoza in the chat has just said Pellia's quarters look less like Starfleet housing and more like the galaxy's longest running yard sale.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Very, very true, Johnny. Very, very true. All right, so we go back to the Farragut. Spock arrives to give Kirk a non-emotional pep talk. Peter, there was a lot going on in this scene. Did you pick up on, how did you find this in terms of, again, building that Spock-Kirk dynamic?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the back and forth between Kirk and Spock, in which when Spock was trying to encourage Kirk to kind of, not sulk and not be more of a command person or try and experience it. So I think that was a good, as you mentioned before, it was a good start to their relationship that will grow deeper in TOS. So
Definitely.
it gives like an opportunity for them to, to really start developing that. I think wasn't it last season in which they just sort of introduced themselves to each other or something like that, and then so here was really one of their first times that they kind of will have a closer working relationship to work out a problem, which will happen a lot in in the later series. So it was a good
I
that
agree.
they added that in. So yeah, and I think probably in a way they kind of from 60 years, they complement each other pretty well. And because Kirk is more of that emotional, a little bit of a instinct type person, while Spock is like the logical one. So it's kind of a little bit ironic how, at the previous scene, Spock volunteered to be the person to talk to Kirk because he is so different. So it's nice that they kind of acknowledge that, that difference, in which will become a core part of their relationship, later on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I like that, and there was, he was also playing. Kirk had the 3D chess out that he was playing with Varel, and we know that him and Spock will go on to enjoy the occasional game of 3D chess together. Yeah. Although I love when Spock first walks in and he doesn't really quite know what to say. He's like, oh, everyone's out there waiting for someone to take command, and if someone don't, the results will be not good. That's basically all he can say. Kirk tells his
in a way, he because they haven't really worked together in a way. Yeah, like you said, Spock not exactly sure. I mean, he knows Pike, he knows Una, but Kirk is still a bit of an unknown for him. So he's trying to almost kind of work, find his way around how to get a effective message through to him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Kirk tells his little anecdote here of the dog who caught the car. So dogs, I mean, I'm glad my dog doesn't chase cars, but, you know, I think of it the same way. My dog goes nuts because we have a lot of possums in my street. I know my dog goes nuts for the possums, and one day one of them fell and unfortunately was not good in our backyard, and he finally got it, and then he just stood over it and didn't know what the hell to do with it, which is very, very true. But then I love the comparison to the Vulcan fable, the Sehlat who ate its own tail, and that it's like it's a great Trek moment that leans into the episode title and the moral of the story. It reminds me of Scorpion, Voyager Scorpion. I don't know if anyone else kind of got that, where that's the episode title and that's the story Chakotay tells Janeway about how the Scorpion won't really change its nature, and that's the same thing with the Borg, and then that's how Kirk comes to that whole realization, like, oh, their flaw is their ravenous need to consume.
That's actually good. That's a good thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too dissimilar. I mean, when we find out who they are, it kind of makes sense too, because I think maybe that's a little bit of an analogy or analogous to modern day human civilization as well. But yeah, and then that kind of leads out to, you know, that's it. That's their weakness, and they need to make it look like, so they have a lot of this Aldentium on board to try and get the scavengers' attention, and they have this big moment where they figure out the plan, and they're all kind of standing there a little shocked. And I love how Spock is just like, the captain has given his orders, get to it. And there's also another little cute moment here where they decide whether they should call him captain or acting captain. I don't know. Did you pick up on that at all, Stephen? Like, he's like,
yes.
Yeah. He's like, wait, shit, what are you?
No, I love that moment. It was funny.
Well, because I don't know if you've noticed this, but particularly in Discovery, they did this a lot. Like, it's just, if you're in charge of the ship, everyone calls you captain. Even if you're if you're a Tilly who's an ensign, like, everyone will just call you captain, or you can be the first officer. And that never kind of felt like in line with how it's been before in Star Trek. Again, I don't know if anyone else has kind of noticed that at all, and this was like a cute little correction, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sort of went along with, we had a bit of an issue, sorry if I don't bring it, at work, where someone was an acting sergeant, and one of the senior sergeants was like, yes, acting sergeant. So I wonder if there's a bit of narkiness going on there. Maybe. It's true, it could have been. So anyway, that all happens, and then again, did anyone else notice this? So again, in this same scene, Chapel, Uhura, and Scotty are all sitting around, again, figuring out the problem. They're all sitting around a console, and there's some music playing. Did anyone else pick up on the familiarity of that music? Doesn't look like...
Was it the TOS theme?
It wasn't the TOS theme.
TOS?
It sounded more like music from the TOS movies.
Oh, okay.
When you go and watch it again, message
okay,
me and let me know. Let me know if you pick up on it. But I was like, oh, this sounds like music out of like Star Trek 6 or something. Like, it was just for the briefest of moments. Or something out of like Star Trek 3 or something. You know, there's a very much a sound like the Jerry Goldsmith kind of scores for those movies, which all sounds very, very familiar. But anyway, if anyone else picked up on that, let me know in the comments. Or also tell me if I'm talking out my ass or my bum's out the window or whatever the saying is. But all right, we're back on the Enterprise. Pike is beating the shit out of an alien with a bulkhead. One of them gets vaporized. The other holds a phaser at Pike and seems to take a very long time to pull the trigger. Seems to hesitate for some reason. A bit sus. And at first I was like, what the hell's going on? And then he does call it out. Like, he does go, why didn't it shoot? So, Peter, I'm guessing that he recognized Pike. There was something familiar about Pike.
Yeah. I mean, that could be. Although I think at the moment that I was watching it, I was a little. I didn't make the connection between that. Between their true identity that we learn at the end, because I wouldn't have guessed that one. So that was a little bit of a mystery as to why the alien didn't shoot Pike when they had, when he had the chance to do that, and it became clearer once they explained it. But I think at the moment of that scene, it was like, oh, what happened? It's just to give give chance for to get shot at or something like that. So so.
So Stephen, you noted in the first episode that we talked about that you didn't pick up on the subtle cues in that episode. Did you pick up on the subtle cues in this one as to who the aliens were going to turn out to be, or did you have no idea?
I had no idea.
No idea. Yeah, no, I was the
no
same.
idea the entire time.
Well, because I think outside of this moment, were there any other hints dropped at all? No. Confused faces.
I don't think so. Yeah.
There was.
Yes, there was.
Oh yeah.
It was when the alien wasn't shooting, didn't shoot. Pike. He was like.
That's what we just spoke about.
Yeah. That was the one. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was one I really should have picked up on, because that was not a very subtle moment.
Yeah. True. So anyway, we've got to remove the umbilical cord, and the small landline phone network has been set up. Very, very, very cute with the split screen and all that kind of stuff, and they're all talking on the phone. Back to the Farragut, their honey trap has worked. The scavengers have arrived for their Aldentium surprise. Some quick evasive maneuvers, and they detach the nacelles, which then kind of plummet down and like
missiles.
Yeah, they kind of like disable the ship. They did explain how that was going to work with some technobabble earlier.
It's a little like the warp core. Like sometimes from time to time in past track, they would eject the warp core, and then actually I think lower and then it kind of exploded or something. Like Lower Decks might have.
And then he was like, Starfleet's not going to be happy that I knocked out the nacelles.
I know, the poor Farragut is but a shadow of its former self at this point, by the way. But that was cool. And then we get, Spock says, aha, the Sehlat has ate its own tail. Haha, lol. We get comms back up at this point because the two ships hail each other, but on the Enterprise, they're still using the phones. Surely their communicators should be working now.
Hello?
Yeah, exactly. I just like the scene where Una thinks of something and runs off, and Ortagus is like, "What's happening?" And you can just hear the footsteps.
Hello, I think it's for you.
Yeah, that was very cute. So thrusters are being fired manually via joysticks, PC gaming joysticks, very much like Riker does in Star Trek Insurrection, if everyone remembers that, which is, again, a bit silly, but also a bit of fun, I guess. The umbilical is detached. One thruster doesn't work, and some quick thinking from Una, and she blows open an airlock, which provides the additional thrust needed, which is cool. Phasers didn't work against them, so they're the Farragut's trying to get them out. I took umbrage with this bit a bit, right? So he goes, our phasers didn't work, we should try something else. So they just fire a shitload of torpedoes at the thing. I'm like, why didn't anyone use torpedoes before? What the hell? There's a lot of that in Star Trek. It's like, you could have just done that at the beginning. Why would no one go fire torpedoes, fire everything we've got before this thing eats us? I don't know. Do you notice that as well, Peter? There's a bit of that's storytelling in any kind of media.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
Yeah. No. There is like that. Those types of things to help I don't know, increase the tension, get a few more seconds of airtime on the episodes, or maybe just kind of ramp up
Yeah.
the higher stakes of things because there's a potential threat. So we have to overcome yet another, or overcome another one. So yeah, just along with I think that one, along with my favorite of the crew member asking the captain, like, you better see this for yourself or something like that, when you come down. So you don't tell it to don't tell it to the captain. Just, you better come down and see it for yourself. That very common Trek storytelling.
Yeah, because I mean, in this, in our Star Trek future, there's often not a lot of need for people to have to come and tell things to people face to face, but they still do. We don't even do that today.
Yeah.
So anyway, we blow the scavengers up in a pretty impressive, like, visual effect of the destruction. I really liked that. That kind of looked good.
Yeah.
But what a shame. They just killed 7,000.
7,000.
7,000. That's a oof. It's quite the number. So we find out they were humans. We see a very the human inside the like astronaut suit that Pike kind of peels off looks very plasticky and androidy. I was like, he's very shiny for humans who have lost their way and have become scavengers. He looked very well manicured. Like his brows had been plucked and waxed, and he'd been perfectly clean shaven. I was like, okay, fair enough.
You wonder what life was actually like on the ship for him to come out so, like, it's just come from the gym,
Yes! In this astronaut suit that's been cobbled together with all kinds of bits and pieces, but the dude in it was hot. Humans may have become, like, mass murderers and scavengers, but still sexy. So here's where we learn what it all was. A group of scientists believed, so back after World War III, this group of scientists believed that Earth's environmental crisis was too severe to recover from. They built a ship and flew into space and disappeared. And it turns out that the scavengers, this was their descendants, who had somehow turned into a bunch of ravenous packlets. A few things. I want to get both of your opinions on what you did. Was there weight in this? But before we do that, the photo of the scientists that they all look at in their suits, did anyone else think that looked like AI? Like, it looked terrible.
Yeah, it looked off. Yeah, it looked off. So I think it could have been.
It was. I feel like it was a Chat GPT thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked a bit like pre-Challenger. It looked a bit off.
Yeah, and it was. Yeah, I don't know. I was like, come on, please don't tell me you used used an AI tool or something to make that. Please. But
I thought this was what Strike was all about, not using AI like that.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to be I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I mean, this season was pretty much, the production of it was held up because of AI. So, I mean, not AI, but because of the strike. I wonder if, they had to, shit, we run out of time. Bit of AI for this. But anyway, what were you going to say? Sorry, Peter?
Yeah. Oh, no, I was just wondering if this is almost like unfortunately, maybe not the last time we'll ask if a certain scene or a shot or something will be done by AI, since nowadays the technology is so it's improving, but there's still some room to before it becomes really good. So it's because I think when we saw this, I think many of the fans kind of said, "Oh, this looks a little bit odd or off." So yeah. So I guess
it was not. Yeah, it was what it was. But anyway, Stephen, your thoughts on the resolution here? Because like you said, we didn't get a lot of hints. So, did you like it? Did you not like it? What's your overall opinion on the outcome?
Of you talking about like finding out,
Yeah,
like
that they were human.
I kind
Oh,
of got a bit of grey here, but we live in an age where we live in a bit of political uncertainty, and we're seeing things like the norms that we accept, the sciences and everything being questioned. And I kind of got a taste for, if we kind of, forgot about ourselves and kind of went into that dark space, on how, as humanity, we could turn out. So I guess, yeah, it just sort of made me reflect on today's political uncertainty.
yeah, that's an interesting take on it. What about you, Peter?
I mean, I think overall I liked it. I just felt it was a little bit of a surprise or a twist ending on origins of the alien. So um because it was something that like I said before, I didn't expect that. But I guess that's not a bad thing, I thought it would be more of a run-of-the-mill alien than just like another species, or it could have been something that we've met before or a new one, but I didn't expect it to be, descendants from astronauts. So I think it was a nice little bit of a twist ending at the end, and it's kind of I guess a commentary, like Steven said, sort of a commentary of today's times, and so that's Star Trek does that pretty you know from since the beginning of the show. So I think it's a little bit of that as well. So
Yeah.
one of the more memorable resolutions to an episode, I'd say, is this one.
I think it'd be less likely to be a group of scientists and more likely to be a bunch of tech CEOs, though. Who build a rocket
Yeah,
and
that's
shoot
true. These lefty scientists all turned rogue and
them. Yeah, so it's one of those concepts I think has grown on me the more I've thought about it, and especially after, because I watched the episode twice. Because I think the audience is meant to be left with that uncomfortableness of like, ooh, what happened to them? Like for them to barely be able to recognize their own species, because they've been out there all this time, and humans have now been out. Like the Federation is 100 years old because they're celebrating the Federation's centenary in this season, and they haven't noticed that Earth is fine and that the humans are back out and about now. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think the more poignant thing about this ending is the moment between Pike and Kirk that ends the episode. About the choices that you make in the captain's chair. And Pike says some great things here, which I've written down. What comes after, that is yours to live with. Some decisions you will regret for the rest of your life, but you will have to make them. Having empathy for your adversary is part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that was the lesson for Kirk here, since he says he didn't feel empathy in that moment. And he's like, well, maybe that's the lesson. He just said that's your important command lesson that you heard here. And but Kirk's like, but why did I have to learn that on account of 7,000 lives? And enjoy your Sarium brandy because you're going to need it. It's basically what I got out of that. Stephen, did you like this moment between
did
Kirk
like
and Pike?
that. I really like, while we got to understand that what these scientists and their obviously descendants did while we got to understand that what these scientists and their obviously descendants did when became was quite dark. At the same time, we murdered or killed 7,000 people. And I like it how, Star Trek does do a lot of reflection, unlike a lot of other sci-fi series, and things. We do reflect on our actions. I like it how Star Trek really does take us really back to the humanity, and especially it reflects very well on, I guess, as we're going to see, the character build up of Kirk.
Absolutely. And Peter, any final thoughts from yourself on the Pike Kirk moment?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was really one of the highlights of the episode was that closing scene between Pike and Kirk, and sort of to bring it full circle to what we were talking about at the beginning of um this episode, that we met Kirk and TOS, and now I was thinking about this scene earlier today, and so you know um Day of the Dove with the Klingons, the Romulan commander in Balance of Terror, even Khan from Space Seed. Kirk showed like sympathy, uh, respect to various adversaries that he's met over the TOS, and I kind of think about those types of instances could be traced back to this episode and to that scene in particular with Pike, with Pike being the sort of the mentor, the little bit more experience in command, and explaining to Kirk that yeah, the decisions you make will be you'll have to live with, but you showing the respect to your people that you deal with. It's important. So I think he kind of, like I said, it's a bit of a retcon, but it kind of explains his approach, and his approach to risk. That risk is our business speech, that pretty famous speech that could kind of trace back to to these types of episodes here. So I think it was like you said, it was a key growing opportunity, or learning opportunity for Kirk, and one of the most important lessons you can learn, uh, as a captain.
Yeah. And to show that he's also, maybe at this point, he's not ready. Like he definitely like took control and charge of the situation, but I think Kirk was kind of left with this whole sense of, wow, okay, he was ready to take risks, he was ready to be the one making the decisions, but then he found out the weight of those decisions. And that was,
Yeah.
I think there was a really cleverly written full circle moment for the character there. And I love how Pike got to play that mentor kind of role and help, tease that lesson out for him. It was, yeah, I think a really, like, overall, a really entertaining, well written episode of Strange New Worlds. One of my favorite of this season. These last two that we talked about today probably been some of my favorites. So
Absolutely agree. It was a real TOS Star Trek episode. Absolutely loved it.
yeah. Well, there you have it, everyone. Thank you so much, Stephen and Peter, for joining in on the panel. Well, there you have it, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in on the panel today. Quick round of self-promotion. Peter, what have you got? Where can people find you? What's happening on the Trek Book Club?
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Davey. Thanks a lot, Steve. Nice to meet you. Um, I can be found on Blue Sky at Peter Trek One, the number one. And I'm also the host of the Trek Book Club, and that's also on Blue Sky. You can follow at Trek Book Club. And we discuss Star Trek books online on Blue Sky approximately every 6 weeks or so. So we actually have two upcoming discussions. At the end of September, it's going to be TNG's A Rock and a Hard Place by Peter David. It's kind of our little bit of a tribute to Peter David, a Star Trek author, prolific Star Trek author who passed away recently. And also the following one is going to be in mid-October, and so we're actually going to discuss two novellas, the Starfleet Corps of Engineers, the SCE novellas. So there's one called Cold Fusion. And there's another one I forgot the name of, but it's online, posted. The schedule is on the profile, the at Trek Book Club profile on Blue Sky. So we'll be having those coming up.
Awesome. And Stephen, where can people find you?
Mostly on Instagram, so just all the way with Stevie J. That's the letter J.
Nice.
Get to enjoy my Trek adventures, Star Trek the Cruise, and all sorts.
Incredible. And as for me, you can find me all over the BQN network. You can catch all of the episodes of the Treksperts Quiz, my Star Trek game show, over at the Treksperts Quiz on YouTube or on your favorite podcasting app. We will be back for Season 4 of the Treksperts Quiz after Strange New Worlds Season 3 is over. MC and I have got a lot of fun stuff planned for the return of that. You can also find my other program, which is currently running in season on the BQN, The Bargain Bin Gamers, spelt Gaymer, where my friend Mitch and I explore diversity in gaming. We've just launched our most recent episode where we interviewed an esports moderator, commentator, enthusiast, and that's a really, really exciting one. So go and check that out. If you would like to be on a future episode of The Hive Mind Presents Hit It, if you'd like to actually be on the show, you can just that's a really, really would like to.